Together and to pray for our county, our state, our country's in trouble, Lord. We need a touch from the Master's hand. Yeah. And Lord, we pray that you would just come and that you would minister your goodness in our dialogue tonight, that we would be able to have conversation with cool minds and warm hearts, Father, and we would be able to accomplish something. Lord, I pray that you would just move on our behalf of this country that's in trouble, that needs the help. And Lord, we just invite you that you would come and minister your goodness. And it's in the precious name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Well, on behalf of Goliad County Sheriff's Office, we'd like to thank all of you for being here this evening. This started out as a meeting for landowners on the western and northwestern portion of Goliad County, which is why it was held here in Weesatche, because this is more than enough room to hold all the folks that we thought would be willing to attend. Apparently I am grossly underestimated the interest in this topic, and don't ever hire me to be your wedding planner, because unless you don't mind your kinfolk sitting in your lap. Sam Briggs from Border Patrol is going to come up and give you a little bit of a brief about some of the stuff going on. He will keep it brief, but I'll tell you, Sam is a wonderful patriot. He and I have worked together for many years, and he's a man that I respect and admire, and I'm very happy that he was willing to make the drive up here to come and see everybody this evening. Sam?
So yes, my office, Corpus Christi office, covers from Weesatche County all the way up north of Harris County. So pretty big area. We really don't cover a whole bunch of it, but we do the best we can with what we got. And you know, having the partnerships with the sheriffs and the police departments in the area sure does help out a lot. I'm just going to give you a couple quick numbers here, just to kind of let you guys know the status of the border as it sits right now. In RGV sector, which is where Corpus Christi is part of, we're averaging about 2,000 apprehensions per day. Believe it or not, it's actually come down a little bit. At one point, the high water mark for a single day was about 3,200 non-citizens. So getting it down to around 2,000, it gives us a little bit of breathing room. I know one of the big topics that's been in the news here lately is the non-citizen unaccompanied children. Here in our RGV sector, we've had about 27,000 encounters with the children over the last couple of months. And as a whole, our apprehension numbers for this fiscal year, we're sitting at about 200,000 people, a little bit over, which is about a 300 and so % change from this time last year. So it's difficult, but the men and women of the Border Patrol, the ones that are out there doing the work, they're doing the best that they can, and we're trying to keep everybody as safe as possible.
Just real quick, Texas and Southwest Cattle Raisers Association is a real close partner of ours, helps us out a lot. I'm sure it helps y'all. Where is old Steve and his folks? Because I want Steve to introduce you to the new cattle ranger for our region here in Goliad, just in case you haven't got to meet him. Really good man, used to work for a dear friend of mine that passed away recently, and glad to have him here and working in our area.
I'm Steve Martin, Special Ranger with the Cattle Raisers Association. I've got everything kind of west of here. I'd like to introduce y'all to Robert Fields. He's y'all's new special ranger for this area. He took over after Gary Barrows retired. I know a lot of you probably knew Gary because he had this area forever. And floating around outside somewhere is James Bennett. He's our regional supervisor for this area. Give you a little background on cattle raisers. The association basically started in 1877 by a group of ranchers up in Graham, Texas, met under an oak tree, and the sole purpose for organizing was to fight cattle theft. And since then it's grown. We've got 30 special rangers spread out, and we cover everything in the entire state of Texas and all of Oklahoma. The state of Texas carries, DPS, Department of Public Safety, carries our peace officers' licenses, and the guys in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma State Police, carry their peace officers' licenses. There's 5 of us in Region 4, and 3 of us are here tonight. So we all got multiple counties. We're here for y'all. We concentrate on issues with cattle theft, equipment theft, anything dealing with farm and ranch agriculture. And we primarily, our funding all comes from our association and members of our association. We don't take a penny of taxpayer money. Only thing we've got state is our peace officer's license that the state carries. But we appreciate our members. We'd love to have any of y'all that aren't members would like to join. You can get with me or Robert or Google us online, and we'd love to have you join. But we're all in this boat together with our sheriffs, and we know the issues y'all are facing.
Like Steve said, I'm in Walker Fields. I'm fairly new special ranger of this district, 25, 9 counties, including Goliad. We're here to support Sheriff Boyd. And like Steve said, we're here. We're all in the same boat. And anything y'all need, agriculture-wise, cattle theft, equipment theft, we're here to support local sheriff's offices and assist them any way we can and carry on any investigations.
I'm going to turn it over to County Judge Mike Bennett. That way he can go over a few things with you real quick.
This fellow that I'll introduce in a minute, he wrote a letter. He lives in Kinney County. He's the county attorney there. I'm going to read the first paragraph for those that didn't get a copy. I was recently elected as county attorney for Kinney County, which is adjacent to the Mexican border. Our county is being bombarded by hundreds of illegal aliens on a daily basis. Our local law enforcement is overwhelmed with illegal alien smuggling activity, high-speed pursuits occurring along our highways and within the residential streets in our small town. These individuals who unlawfully enter our country originate from many different countries around the world, including the Middle East. I highly doubt most Texans or their elected representatives fully comprehend the magnitude of the situation. Our homes are being broken into in the middle of the night. The main street of our small town is now the place of high-speed car chases. Walking outside on our own property after dark is no longer safe. The residents in our county no longer enjoy the comfort and safety of their own home. Words cannot adequately describe the conditions on the ground and the vast number of illegal aliens that are flooding into our county. All of this has resulted in the deaths of several people and a tremendous amount of property damage, which will certainly become worse in the coming months if no action is taken to prevent it. Make no mistake, our great state of Texas is being invaded by thousands each day. Well, I got that letter, and I called Roy. I actually got the letter from Tracy. Don't know where she got it. She sends stuff to me before she sends it to Roy, so I had to send it to him. He's a little slow on the uptake. Anyway, I said, Roy, these people need help, and they need our support. I don't know what we can do, but we need to go there. So we made arrangements to go down and meet the county attorney, the county sheriff, and the county judge. Great people. County of 3,500 people. They said we need help. We told them we didn't know what we were due to help them, but we were there. So we made a decision that we would file an emergency declaration. Kinney County led the way in the state, and they were followed. We were directly behind them. We filed it on San Jacinto Day, which we thought would be appropriate yesterday. So these guys are on the front lines. But make no mistake about it, what they've got is coming to see us real soon. And as Sheriff Boyd will outline in a few minutes, it's already occurring in our county. But it's undercover, it's under the cover of darkness. They don't have big signs on the side of their truck saying this Ford F-250 is full of illegal aliens. We find them on ranches and other places. So I want to introduce these two guys to you. This is Brent Smith. He's the county attorney in Kenny County. And this is Sheriff Cole. He's got a full-time job there. He doesn't have any more deputies than Roy has. It's difficult to cover everything that needs covered. We don't have a lot of redundancy in these small counties, and it's taken up every bit of their resources. It's a tough deal to negotiate. This is the first rodeo for most everyone. I know we've had incursions in the past, but the number of people has escalated to the point where the local resources are expended pretty quickly in these small counties. So we filed this declaration yesterday, hoping that many, many other counties will join suit, and we think they will. We think that we'll have 200 plus counties sign on to this very quickly. And we're hoping that Governor Abbott will respond appropriately and provide the necessary people and resources to help us. Right now, all that's been done on the border, for the most part, is DPS is down there. They put a lot of people on the street down there, but they're just catching them after they have the high-speed chase or some get away. And it's my opinion that this whole scenario is like a funnel. The small end of the funnel is at that river. And by the time you get to Nebraska, it's pretty big and you can't cover the top. So this needs to be addressed at the source, which is our border. And that's what we're hoping our governor will do.
I'd like to thank Goliad. I mean, y'all were the first ones to come to our aid, and us writing the letter started it, and we've had some progress. We've heard from a lot of people. A lot of people wanting to help. A lot of counties wanting to sign. I think we've only had one county so far say they didn't want to sign, was Webb County. As far as what we can do right now, there's a House Bill 2862 in the State Affairs Committee for Texas to build the wall ourselves, and it's being held up by Chairman Patty in there. And it only has a few more days before it dies. So if we could get him to get that bill out for House floor vote, that would be great. Because without the wall in the long run, you know, we're gonna expend an enormous amount of resources trying to get this done.
My name is Brad Coe. I'm the sheriff of Kenny County, Texas. Like the judge and the sheriff said, we're right on the border. I have 6 full-time deputies to cover 1,400 square miles. We can't do it. My guys have been in more pursuits in the past year than most police officers will ever do in a lifetime. We've had wrecks. We're catching more and more every day. We file charges. We have to let them go because our jails are full. The COVID scare has kind of got me shut down. I have no place to put anybody. We're going to keep going at this rate. We're going to prosecute. We're going to do as much as we can. And like our county attorney said, y'all's judge and your sheriff are the first ones that had our back. They made a special trip to come talk about this. That meeting lasted an hour and a half, but I think we got a lot accomplished. And by the presence in this room, I can tell there's a lot of people that really care about what's going on our southern border. Our ranchers are having problems, our fences are being cut, our animals are getting out. It just goes on, it doesn't stop. And I thank y'all for your support. And if I could get a crowd like this to come to Brackettville, I would be extremely happy. And when we have our meeting, the county attorney and I will be trying to get one together. We're going to invite y'all to come. So you can actually see what happens in Brackettville, Texas. And I thank y'all for being here. God bless you.
Next, we'll have the Weesatche County Judge Myers come up and say a few words, because I'll explain to you in a little bit, but a lot of what's going on in Goliad is directly impacting his jurisdiction.
One of the things that I want to address first of all is the power that we have as a vote. We need to flood the telephone network at Austin. We need to flood the telephone networks of our legislative representatives and our senators. We need to let them know that this is not sustainable. In Lavaca County, since January, we've had more than 13. There was 13 as of April the 10th. We had 13 pickups stolen. We've had 7 high-speed pursuits which ended in crashes. We had to airlift 3 illegal aliens. And this all costs taxpayer money because illegal aliens don't pay that bill. You do. When we airlift somebody, that's $40,000 every time that bird takes flight. And so it costs taxpayers $40,000 every time we airlift someone. So this is not a sustainable future. We cannot do this. It is so vitally important that all of you contact your representatives and your senators and tell them this is not going to stand. One of the things I want to just give you and that I think is interesting is that the county attorney here mentioned that House Bill 2862 is on the slate for being heard in committee, but they haven't heard it yet. Chairman Patty has not allowed this into committee yet, but what he has allowed into committee is a bill to decide whether or not we need to have an extra fireworks day on July the 5th. This is their priority. This is where they seem to have their priorities. They have not been listening to us. We need to speak louder. In Senate District 18, April the 10th, we all signed, there was 21 counties represented, Republican Party representation for 21 counties in Senate District 18 on April the 10th, and we all signed a petition of redress to the governor. One of those counties was Harris County. And that petition was signed unanimously by everyone in that meeting, including Harris County. Now, I don't know if that's going to have any weight or not. They haven't done anything yet. But what we've called on the governor to do is to take the action and use the tools that he has available to him. A lot of people don't realize this, but the governor has available, he can activate the state military forces, the state National Guard, and he also can enact a draft to raise up an army to quell this invasion. This is an invasion. No matter what anyone tells you, this is not a military action. This is a law enforcement emergency. And we are in an invasion right now. The governor needs to act on this. And he needs to treat it like what it is, which is an invasion of our nation. This is an act of war. And if the federal government is not going to do what they're supposed to do and protect our borders adequately, then we as Texans need to do it. We need to take care of ourselves. And we have the right to do that under the Texas Constitution and under the Texas Government Code. Texas Government Code, Chapter 431, I'm sorry. The reserve militia is subject to being called out to as needed for the period required in the case of war, insurrection, invasion, prevention of invasion, or suppression of a riot, tumult, or breach of peace to aid civil officers to execute law and serve due process and serve process. What this means is that the governor has available in his tool chest to send troops down to assist the sheriff in defending our border and for him to defend the people that he serves. And for all of the sheriffs in Texas to do the same. And I think it's about time that we, as citizens, make our voices more heard. You know, there's a lot of people, we talk a lot about contacting our state reps and our state senators, but a lot of times we do a lot of talk. But really and truly, now is the time to take action. And what we're doing as counties, as far as declaring a disaster, I believe will also help in hopefully delivering that message to the governor that we've had enough. Pay attention to pipelines, okay? illegal aliens aren't gonna stick to primary roadways. My thinking is if where their destinations are is a big city, they wanna go to Houston. That's where most of them are headed this way and north and to the bigger cities, okay? Pay attention to the pipelines because those pipelines, that's where they lead. And they don't stick to the main roads. They cut right through ranches and farms and ranches and things of that nature. And most people don't pay much attention to the pipelines. I mean, we all see people walking around the pipelines, that's normal. You see people checking them and stuff, that's normal. But pay attention to those people and please, if y'all see anything suspicious at all, I encourage everyone in our county and Weesatche County to let the sheriff know. If it doesn't look right, it probably isn't. And, I think if we don't do something soon, it's gonna start costing them a lot of lives. And, I would really like to see us do something about that before we lose our nation.
The judge just talked about this being an invasion. What did we discuss the other day? 76,000 apprehensions between April 1st and April 13th nationwide. Border Patrol estimates they catch between 10 and 15% of all that come through, which in reality is a high percentage, and we all know that, because there's no way of guaranteeing that number. If you extrapolate that over a year, and it's consistent over a year, and if you've seen the letter that I gave to the judge, that's between a little over 13 and almost 20 million people coming in illegally into the country in a year. That's a lot of people. State of Texas has about, 28 million people? They were saying our population was going to double by 2050. I think we can do that by, 2030 at this rate. So, it's a lot of people coming in. It's absolutely right. So, a lot of times, they talk about the border crisis, and people think, well, that's down at the border. Well, no, it's not down at the border. And it's changed drastically over the years. I've kind of found myself over the years dealing with border security issues since about 2005. But I've never seen anything quite like this. I've gone down, I've helped oversee brush ops down in deep South Texas, done some of that stuff over the years with DPS and the federal agencies, but I've never seen anything like this. But you probably want to know how it affects us right here. I'll tell you, more so in Beeville and Live Oak, they're getting in pursuits constantly. The major trafficking routes, and the reason this was aimed primarily at the western and northwestern portion of the county, is a cartel used to come up a lot through Sarco, come through 2441. And they still do occasionally. But, y'all may remember I got in that pursuit, back in February, I guess it was, with the Camaro that had come up 2441. And then we went out and tried to put some pressure in the Sarco area, and everything dried up out there. Well, what we found is they typically go around, either come up, go through Pettis, and then come in the back way, go through Charco, and come up 884 and go right here through Weesatche, go to Schrader, cut across on Camp Collette Road, come out in Mission Valley, and then cut across to Nursery, and then from there they go over to Fortran and go up through Terryville and make their way on the back roads all the way back around up by Wharton. So they take some really crazy back roads, and we know that because we've actually found the hand-drawn maps giving them directions on where to go to avoid us on the highways. Our interdiction works on the highways at work, but they're going to find a way around. Water takes the path of least resistance, and that's exactly what this is. So what we've done is we've been trying to go out and put some pressure, because what we have in Goliad, whether you know it or not, are a lot of sites where they drop off illegal aliens. What happens is they'll bring them up from the border to somewhere in this area, they'll drop them off at a temporary holding site, and then somebody from Houston comes, picks them up, and then takes them to Houston, where they're distributed across the United States. And most of these people are being put into indentured servitude. They're slaves right here in our own country. And we all know that it's taking place, and we've known this for quite some time. Things have pretty much, started drying up on the border during the last administration. Just had this discussion with Homeland Security and Border Patrol, talking about how it was pretty much under control. Well, that came to a real fast end, and it's the Wild West on steroids is what it would be. And so and that stolen truck had a paper plate that wasn't issued to it. And it had about 20 bags of trash. I've never seen a site so used that the people using it actually were bagging up their own trash. That's a long-term site. Toilet paper and debris scattered throughout the brush for acres. It's a mess. Evidence of at least 10 different campfires on the property. They were moving around. They were using that site quite a bit. That site happens to be the site where some of the fatality accidents or the accidents that the judge here from Weesatche County is talking about, we've been able to tie back to this ranch here in Goliad. We've got an ongoing large-scale investigation into smuggling and human trafficking that has a hub right here in Goliad County, not too far from Weesatche. It has the potential, from what I'm told from HSI, to be the largest human trafficking investigation in this region in history. It is big. It also ties into some of the stuff that Sheriff Mars dealt with in some of his incidents over in Victoria. And we're working on this stuff. But it's, trust me when I say it's a big, big apple to take a bite out of. There's quite a bit to it. And without our federal partners, without our other partners that we have, and without all the sheriffs coming together and working together, there's no way in the world we could ever do this. We all have different pieces to the same puzzle, and we're trying to put them together. And the problem is we're finding more and more. Last Saturday, B County Sheriff's Office got into a pursuit coming out of Pettis. They chased that vehicle, which is going to be a truck, which is usually what it is, down 2442, broke through the gates on the high game fence ranch, turned in. The truck went through the ranch. Our deputy found where they drove through the high game fence and came out on 883 headed towards Berkeley. That same night, just by chance, the next day, I was out on a fire call on Rock Hill Road, and we find out that somebody drove through a ranch out there, entered in Karnes County. Nobody's pursuing them. They just drove onto a ranch, drove through a couple of gates, drove through some fences, and then drove through these people's fence to exit out on Rock Hill Road in Goliad County. You know, the judge mentioned, and I'm going to step down because I'm going to grab some stuff here, but the judge mentioned he and I have gone down to the border twice so far. As part of the Texas Sheriff's Regional Alliance, I was invited to go down and meet with some congressmen and down in McAllen. Well, you can ask my lovely wife over here. I'm very nosy, and I have a tendency to get into things that, do things that a lot of people wouldn't do. So he was scared, but I took the judge down to the Rio Grande in Roma, Texas. I held his hand. We went down there. You can ask the judge. He's an old cop too. But we were picking up. There's tons of little kids' shoes right on the Rio Grande in Roma. There are probably tens of thousands of these armbands down there on the shore, right along the river, and then scattered for the acres going up the hill into Roma, Texas. These armbands are different colors. They actually have codes on them. They prove that you've paid. They show that who you've paid. They show which raft you're to get on, and they show which day you're to get on the raft. That way, it shows what you're doing. And if you don't think they're dead serious about these, not too long ago, about 3 weeks now, DPS was in the exact same spot that the judge and I were in. There was a lady who had come through the brush on the Mexico side. There's an old farm there with a bunch of dilapidated greenhouses where they store all these people for days at a time while they're waiting to get on the rafts. Lady had 4 kids coming through the brush to get on the raft. She lost hers because, as you can see, some of them will just slide right off. This one bound to been on a child. But these things are hanging in the brush everywhere. She lost hers. Her 4 kids got on the raft. She tried to get on. The cartel handler told her, "You can't get on the raft. You have no wristband." She said, "I paid. My wristband came off in the brush." And this all, you'll learn kind of how all this comes about. She says, "But I paid." They told her, no wristband, you can't get on the raft. She tries to get on the raft anyway. You imagine as a mom, your 4 kids are on the raft getting ready to leave the country, and the cartel tells you you can't go with them because you don't have an armband? Oh man, my wife, she'd be killing somebody. So I'm gonna tell you right now, she tried to get on the raft. They broke her leg. She's screaming in pain. They pushed the raft off with her kids on it while she has a broken leg on the shore. She's screaming, so they break her other leg. These are things that the media doesn't show you. They all want to say compassion, compassion, compassion for these people and let them come. What they don't show you is the fact that the cartel ruthlessly controls that border. And these are the same people that we're going to be dealing with right here in Goliad County. If you don't think they're here, I'm going to tell you right now, how do you think they found all these sites in our county? How do you think they found all those sites in B County? Live Oak, Weesatche County? Because they're here and they have their people in our communities. And you may not know who they are, but I'm going to tell you right now they're here because I've been working cartel cases for quite some time. And they are here. And they've recreated the plaza system right here in the United States that they use in Mexico, only with a little bit different model. And they have their folks here. We don't know who's coming in the country because they throw their IDs down on the river. Man, there's IDs scattered everywhere down there. Along with a ton of these cell phones. I don't smoke. This is a strange looking pack of Marlboros, but there's a lot of that down there. So, well, what's that got to do with Goliad? Well, it's very simple. Those wristbands came from Roma, Texas. These wristbands come from Goliad, Texas. These are right here. I picked these up off the ground right here in Goliad. These are the same wristbands from the cartels that you see down on the Rio Grande by the tens of thousands. Excuse me?
Lost your band.
Yeah, lost my band. Now can't get on the boat. License plates from stolen vehicles. This is the grill off of a truck that ran through a ranch this weekend. Just pieces of the grill. Nobody chasing them, just driving through, destroying their property. That thing just doesn't want to stay, does it? This is a lot that they didn't cut, they broke. There were a couple of them this weekend. So, there you go, I'll wait nothing this time. I've been finding IDs from other countries. This one here is from the Republic of El Salvador, right here in Goliad, Texas. I found this laying next to a campfire. I don't know who this gentleman is, but I bet he has an ID and he has somebody else's social security number by now. So, just hope he makes good money and pays in so your retirement's better. Those are right here in Goliad. This is directly impacting us. This is transnational, organized criminal activity right here in our own county. And I'll guarantee you it comes through 7 days a week. It does not stop. The cartel does not make billions, that's with a B, billions of dollars a year by taking a day off. The same people who bring cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, and heroin into this country are the same people who are trafficking these indentured servants. There's children here, so I'll use a little bit different. There was a adult entertainment slave house that I was involved on a raid of, and found a letter that articulated, start off by saying, here in America, we have something called a slave boy or slave girl. And it went on to articulate that it takes 5 to 13 years to buy your freedom in the United States when you come here from another country. How many of you turn on the news and they talk about millions of slaves here in the United States? I'm a little bit of a history buff. 400 years of the African slave trade. Approximately 10.5 million slaves brought to the Western Hemisphere over a 400-year period. 6% of them came to North America out of all those. We were a very small percentage. On any given day now, they estimate a conservative 29 million slaves, at least on the face of the earth. We're gonna import 13 to 20 million people, and the majority of those are gonna wind up as slaves right here in our own country or in Canada. I'll flat out tell you, nobody has the right to do that. Nobody has a right to do that. What I'm asking for tonight, and the reason that it originally come up at this meeting is I'm asking for your help. If you own land, if you've got a place, you've got some property you don't go to all the time, when you're out, go through your brush, your thick brush. Take a look around. You see water bottles, you see a lot of trash. I'm not talking about just a little bit right on the side of the road, but I'm talking about you go and see a concentration of water bottles, Gatorade, food debris, stuff like that. You see where somebody's had a campfire on their place, which they don't always have a campfire, but usually there'll be water or something like that. Let us know, because we're looking for locations that they're using in the county. That trip that the judge and I took down to McAllen wasn't just a trip to go down there and see a bunch of politicians shaking hands and saying a bunch of stuff that's really going to mean a whole lot of nothing, to be quite honest with you. The reason we went down there was to see what was going on firsthand. That ranch where we found that site that's connected to all this other criminal activity and has turned into a huge investigation, went to the car dealership. Some of you may have seen that video that my wife put for me on the Facebook page. But for those of you who didn't see it, we went to the car dealership. Why did I find this license plate in my county? That's what I told the car dealership. Why is this license plate that doesn't belong to the truck we found, why is it in my county? Little lady at the car dealership, that pretty darn small. She's like, I don't know, that truck, that license plate goes, she goes, I have the original license plate right here. She pulls it out of the folder and she has the original. She says, and that truck is still for sale on our lot. And I'm sure she's just an employee because she seemed pretty sincere. But I'm going to tell you, the cartel owns a lot of car lots. They own a lot of businesses. And so what they do is they take and they give themselves duplicate plates. And so they're using those duplicate paper plates to get by and not get caught with some of these vehicles. And then I'm sure y'all remember Miss Gonzalez, who was found deceased here in Goliad County not too long ago. So the judge and I took another ride. We went to Mission, Texas, because found out through our investigation where she was kept in a safe house in Mission while she was held waiting for the cartel to move her up the next chain. So we went over there, pull up to the place, got a real big dog that doesn't really want you in their 8-foot chain link fence yard. We took a lot of pictures, went to the place next door, little bitty Honduran market. It's probably about the size of a Morgan building with 20 high definition cameras all the way around it. They must really have some crime problems down there. Well, I left my card. Within a matter of a few hours, pull up my email and I've got a letter from an attorney down in the valley telling me he represents people who live in that house that I tried to make contact at. Yeah. So there's an old saying, if you're getting flack, you're flying over the right target. So we figured we were flying over the right target. So that was our mission for the day, because the real goal was to go down there and let them know that even if you're committing crimes out of the valley, we just may show up and knock on your door. Go around us. I can't stop them. Go around us. Sorry, Carnes County. I'm sure you guys are here. Sorry. I don't know if Carl Bowen's here. I apologize. If I push him far enough north, then Sheriff Marr won't have to mess with me, or we'll send him, I'm sorry, to Weesatche County. So we all work together, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to do what we can do, but we need your help. We need you to be vigilant. We need you to let us know if you find anything suspicious. You know, a lot of you communicate on a regular basis with your cattle rangers. These guys are wonderful. And these guys communicate with us. If you find something and you're not sure and you're dealing with Steve or Robert or, you know, one of the other guys, they'll always call us and let us know what's going on. So however you're most comfortable, let us know what's going on. because we need to do something about this. This is a horrible, horrible humanitarian crisis. You know, I don't hate people from another country. Everybody is made in the image of God. It's just how it is. It's the truth. But we're a sovereign nation, and we have laws. And the Lord told us to obey those laws. Everybody needs to obey those laws. And if we're not going to do something about any of this, then we're not a nation. We're just some pass-through piece of land. And we can't have that. And sure as hell not going to have it in Goliad County. Just not going to put up with it. So I got a little bit of a streak in me. So I don't know if I'm foolish or just not afraid. But I don't mind going and doing things and taking a fight somewhere else. I got to give him credit. As Judge Bennett says, you can't win a war fighting at home. You have to go fight on somebody else's turf. And that's exactly what we were trying to do down the valley. Don't come here. Go somewhere else. Avoid this place. Get to Houston another way, because that's where everybody's going. That's the distribution center for slaves, for drugs, for all kinds of illegal activity. If you're going to go around us. I'd much rather see the federal government get off their duff and do something, but I'm sorry, I have no faith in it. It's going to have to come from the state of Texas. If the state doesn't do something, it's all going to be over. It's just the way it is. So it's time for people to, quit floating bills that are going to go nowhere, and just so they can show up on the campaign and go, man, I tried. I really tried. I pushed for this and I just couldn't get it. I tried. Don't push a bill you know is going to die and then come here and tell me that you're trying. We're going to have to come together and we're going to have to do something. I urge you as well, get a hold of your representatives, your senators. Nothing makes things move short of money. Like a lot of phone calls or a lot of faxes. Because I don't want to be picking up armbands in Goliad County. I don't even want to be picking them up on the Rio Grande. I want something to be done about this, but I'll be damned if we're going to let it just continue to come into Goliad County. So don't be surprised if you don't see a sign in a ditch pretty soon that says if you're going to be trafficking people or drugs, you better turn around now and go take another route. Because our jail's freshly painted, and it's still like 1.5 star rating on Yelp or something, but I can't help it. The mattresses are flat and the food is really bad. That's what happens when you feed people $5 for $5 a day. But don't be surprised if we don't put up signs, basically telling them to go around. So I'll call the guys down to Beeville and tell them they need to put them up, and Larry Busby's going to have to put them up, and it's going to have to be a chain reaction. So, but we just wanted to inform you all what's going on, because we're seeing a rise in it. I sent the judge a letter. He issued the emergency declaration. We're hoping to help get the state off their duff. And I thank you boys down in Kennedy County. We really appreciate it, because we were trying to figure out what to do. And the vision came from the county attorney down there, and all that ended up turning into action. And action is what we need. We don't need any more political speeches. We need stuff done. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to actually take some action and do something. So I ask for your support, contacting your folks up at the state legislature, contacting the governor. I've got a meeting with the Attorney General next week. The sheriffs will all probably roll their eyes with some of the questions I ask, because my filter doesn't always work. But when there's not children and women in the room, I have a tendency to get a little bit, rough sometimes. And so, but I think that that's what's going to be necessary to get something done. So, but going to have your support and your help.